all screwed up.
I
Um,
found it hard to get started and really fun in the end.
oh yeah, well, that's how most things that are worthwhile are doing feel, right? You know, it's hard. Yeah, there's always a little bit of resistance. And I mean, do you know, Tally, why you felt that? Like, was it just, did it seem overwhelming?
I'd done it once before,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I thought no big deal. But it was a much larger size this time, so that kind of boggled me.
Okay.
I had to listen to the video about 3 times to figure out that I had the folds right.
Okay, yeah.
And then I just sort of said, oh, just start.
All right, there you go. There you go. Yeah, you know, I mean, this assignment was, you know, in a way to try to pull together what seems maybe kind of random, what I've been exposing you all to, where we started with line and we, you know, focused a bit on expressive line and a little bit of the contour line drawing, and then, you know, going into color last week and color mixing. And then I think this assignment, you know, helped. I'm hoping that what it does is it brings those two things together, where we're not going to abandon our intuitive side, you know, in this class. Like, we don't want to. I always find that learning color can be so, in a way, what do I want to say? It's like separated from the act of making art, that it really feels, you know, well, for me, you know, I think I told you I was sort of, you know, really resistant to color theory that I had, and it just didn't seem like it made sense to me. Like, how do I even use this? So anyway, long story short, this exercise, it was designed to pull both of those things together, where you know, it's asking you to take a word, which we're so familiar with, and connect, you know, an emotional quality to it. You know, write it, draw it the way it makes you feel, and let that inspire the color choices that you make. So.
I had the opposite problem with Tally. I had no problem getting started. I just, once I got the word down and the book all set up to work on, and I just looked at it and went, oh my God. And I tried all these different things, and then I kept covering them up because I didn't like them.
We're having our judges in the room.
I was judging myself.
Get that judge out there.
I know, they were really pretty pathetic looking.
Adria,
You know,
Ellen, yeah?
what I find difficult is, you know, I learned with oil paint where you have a palette and you go mixing as you go along. So you're seeing what you're putting down, and then you're choosing, you know, and I can't do that with acrylic paint. So that completely throws me off.
Well, you could. It's just that I'm asking you to do the. Well, tell me if this is right, Ellen. Do you mean in all circumstances when you paint, or just in this exercise?
Well, to have any quantity of paint.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and that is what really throws, like having to pick a palette beforehand.
Yeah. That's hard for you.
Yeah, because I usually go with what is starting to show up.
Yeah, no, I know, I understand. I think, well, I would say that you can do exactly what you do with oil. You might really enjoy using those open paints for that process, because then it does enable you to pick from your palette and mix before stuff dries. You know, but that's a different kind of painting, and you know, again, there's so many different approaches to it. And of course, you know, any teacher you have will focus on how they like to use things. So, you know, I tend to be somebody who really enjoys mixing up huge quantities and painting, you know, big, you know, first of all, large and more smoothly these days. So, you know, I'm giving you my little technique, but, you know, there's so many. So don't feel that this is the one way at all. It's just
how do we pick a palette in that way, you know, to get Well, I suppose we could start with one color. And
Well,
I have a thought on that,
yeah, go
Right.
ahead, Tally, yeah.
Ellen, because I started also as a watercolorist, so I had a full palette. And years ago, because acrylic dries so quickly, I bought a very large rectangular plastic container that was, like imagine a cake baking thing, except it's plastic, that you could also cover the whole thing to keep the paint fresh. And then I just laid it out kind of the way watercolor with dabs, but decent sized dabs of the acrylic paint around the edges so that I could use it sort of like a palette and I could cover it when I needed to take a break. And
you
it
mean
worked.
one of those things that has a sponge under it? that
Well,
keeps-
that'd be even better. That'd be even better to keep it moist, but I was just using plastic and then I'd spray it if I was going to take a break for a while.
So where'd you get the real big thing?
Probably in a kitchen store.
Oh,
You
I
know,
see. You put
Yeah.
it together.
You guys here, well, I don't want to delve too much into technique, but I
Sure.
do want to say that there are wet palettes that you can buy. Like Ellen, if you just Google, they do
I
make
have some
palettes that-
smallish ones.
Yeah, they do. I mean,
It
it
comes
really,
bigger.
yeah, it depends on how you want to work. And certainly that does. And then certainly in picking your palette, I would say choose like the palette that I gave you to use. Those colors you can use to mix just about any color that's ever made. That's a very good palette. It's a good basic palette. So, I think the trick is to learn about, how, mixing your neutrals. I mean, it's like learning how to mix any set of colors. Acrylic is no different. It's exactly the same and you can use it just the same. What I was saying is the open paints have that longer drying time. And so that's, one way to get past that. If you spray your acrylics with a lot of water, you tend to dilute them. So,
Mhm.
so, what I've been talking to you about, and we'll get back to this. And again, I don't want to get too down in the weeds because, I'm trying to give you ways to kind of get in, to the art making process without getting stuck with the too many techniques. I think honestly, the technical stuff can stop people in their tracks. They get too worried about it, and then it gets scary, and then you stop.
Yeah.
So but I know you've been working a long time, and certainly I'm happy to give you, more technical advice on that. But yeah, keeping your palette moist is a tricky thing with acrylics, and you just have to figure out what works. Like I said, the open kind of acrylics that Golden makes is the only brand that has that longer lasting time to stay wet. You can also get their open medium to mix in.
Can the golden retarder go in other acrylic paint?
Yeah, it can, absolutely. And yeah. So there's ways to slow down the drying time, but yeah, you certainly you can use your acrylics. Like I said, this is a particular way of getting from A to B, in terms of just feeling, anyway, to use color.
Yeah.
Hi, Stephanie. So hi,
Hi,
everybody.
sorry
So
to
we're
late.
gonna get started. No, it's all right. And we're gonna jump right in. We are missing Nadia today, and I don't know about Dave. So we'll just get started. So I did want to come around and find out, what were your thoughts about last week's class where we began to use color, and also to see the homework if you did it in terms of doing this book that I had sent to you. So just in general, where are our thoughts about using color and how all this is or is not making sense in the context of our class?
Oh, you sent around a fold book? I love those. Okay, I gotta do it. I'm gonna do it
Yeah,
later.
no, I did do a fold book. Yeah, we did a fold book. Thoughts about that? Difficult, easy, frustrating? I already heard from Tally and Beth. Stephanie, how did you feel about it?
Well, I mean, when I did it, I realized that maybe I was supposed to paint each page separately.
No.
Oh, good.
Not
Well,
necessarily.
then I really wasn't sure of the purpose of the fold book except for the display thing. But otherwise, I did find it cool to have the letters oriented in different ways and just look at them as shapes while still having the impetus of the word as a jumping off point. I also learned.
Yeah, what did you learn?
I mean, obviously, like I said, I was frustrated with the other assignment where I had to color in the line. So
Yeah.
here I was trying to be freer and explore different kinds of brush strokes.
Yeah.
And, at first my instinct was to kind of follow the long lines of the letters as a stroke throughout. And then I was like, no, I need to contrast that. So I experiment with different, more shorter little brush strokes in different directions, and then a little bit of texture with that wide brush. I have to say, I also learned that I still have a lot to learn about color. And so I'm not happy with not judging at all, but I'll say the colors didn't really sing together. And I keep instinctively trying to, add pink to purple, which is sort of, getting too collected. And so then I tried to break it up with other things, but I don't, anyway, it was more experiment in brush strokes and shape, but how to put the colors together in a way that works coherently, still waiting to learn that.
Well, absolutely. So, there's a lot to unpack there, as they say. But this is your book, or this is
That's a half of it, and then the other half is the next image.
So tell me what word you started with.
You can't guess. Look at the other image and see.
Oh, okay. Let's see. You guys let's all try to guess what Stephanie used as her word. Oh.
Passion.
Passion?
Yes. Passion.
Fashion. Okay,
Yeah.
great.
And I, when I was doing it, I realized, oh no, I didn't cover the whole page the way you did with anger, and break it up. So what I did is I did sort of like a mirror reflection underneath it.
Okay. Hey,
So I
that's
sort of
great.
painted the word upside down in addition to right side up. So
Great. That is great. No, that like I say, this is a jumping off place for you all. And what you learn on your own, working intuitively and working without me and working without the class, those are great things. Mainly, you got started and did some painting,
right.
and
it's very different from the other things we've done in class so far. So that widens the palette and the possibilities.
Exactly, Stephanie. So that's really, what this is all about, is how do you get started when you're staring at a white piece of paper? That's a really hard call. So we go to an emotion, we go to someplace that's kind of a place that's not in our heads, but it's more in our guts or our hearts, if you want to say that, not being very specific and atomically, but that is a reservoir that we carry, that we can pull from when we're working non-representationally, right? We all have access to that. We have our emotions. We have something that we feel strongly or we can associate with. So that's a great place to start. And, presumably you painted the word passion in a way that suggested that to you, whatever that meant. And it was a way to start. So this was, and so your choice of colors, seem warm, kind of, they're if you think of the word passion, it's, you're something that you're very drawn to, it really evokes a lot of positive, I'm going to say, feelings and associations. And so did you feel like the brushes and the brush strokes and the colors you used felt that way to you? Did that drive your choices?
Well, definitely the purple. I have to do purple for passion. I just can't imagine not anything else. But then, to sort of, I liked at first the sort of the way I was coloring it with the pink, but then figuring out what else to do.
Yeah.
That's where I started to go wrong. And also even purple and pink, I'm like, okay, I saw that in the fish one. I'm like, okay, that's a little bit expected. But I sort of wanted to enhance the purple there. I don't know. So I really was kind of lost with the color, but the brush strokes I was enjoying.
Yeah.
I don't know if they, work at all, but I was enjoying,
Okay,
working.
so I just, yeah, and we're not going to spend a long time. Again, the emphasis is on what are you learning. I did hear you use a couple of judgy words there.
No, I'm sorry, but I just
No,
don't know
that's
how
okay.
else to
So-
say it, because when you asked
so-
was I enjoying it, I said I'm not sure I was enjoying the colors that I chose necessarily together, at least
Okay,
together.
So let's just try to reframe and say, that, it was curious, it was, maybe, you found it challenging to figure out, how to do this. And, but so again, just try to remain in that open frame of mind instead of saying, that didn't work. You could say, that was, that's interesting what happened. I mean, I don't even, I don't think we even know what working or not working means in this kind of an exercise. It's playful. You're just trying things out. So, there's no way to do art without that playfulness, without that trial and error. There really isn't. And so I'm trying to give you exercises that will inspire that kind of taking chances and trying things. How do you know if you don't try? So great. I'm glad you did it. It was awesome to see you play around with this, Stephanie. And yeah, let's I'm so happy to see that you did that. All right. Let's see. Beth, did you had yours up here?
Yeah,
Okay, let's
did.
just see if we can find yeah, there you are. Okay, and let's just see what Beth came up with. So here we go almost backwards here. You start with the word glowing, is that right?
Well, I put that in first, so it came up last, but
Okay.
that was just to show you what the word was I was using.
Okay.
And
then,
I didn't realize that all four sides in the book were supposed to be connected. So I broke them up into the ones that, you open up to this page and then you close this and open up the other page. And
yeah.
so this is the one that I was trying some smaller markings on this one and I wasn't liking them. So I used black and I just covered them up, but it's not glowing anymore, really. I mean, it's something else. So, but anyhow, I sort of liked what was happening with the black. I was fine with that. And then I got more glowing in the yellow in that one, but I didn't do as much with it. I just
It's
was
fine.
running short on time then.
You guys are painting. You guys had a place to start. Presumably making books is a relatively new technique for you. Is this true? Yes?
Yeah, I've never done this.
Yeah.
So
I
I was really curious to see what everybody else did because I didn't know anything about it.
I mean, this is usually something I do in class, although, but I decided to throw that out to you as a way to make it have you use color. We did a little bit of work last week, and so you used color and you used your line. Stephanie, I was saying that the line of the letters is, line nonetheless, whether it's contour or whatever, a line that you write and that, evokes for you a meaning of the word is a use of line in that kind of an intuitive, emotional manner. So that is, kind of parallel to what we're trying to do here, where, we're not in our heads as much as we are trying to respond to the world, right? Respond to it in an intuitive way. So your takeaway, Beth, how would you say you learned a number of things there that
one is in terms of the color and the word that in the second sheet, the pink, that wasn't very glowing. And, so I just need to feel a little bit more about the word in that case. But I was trying to also work a little larger brush than I usually do and not get absorbed with detail, little marks.
Yes.
So that was fine, but I always have this thing about, should I do more or should I have done less? So the one on the left is, the one on the right, I did less. And the other one, I was doing more, and I don't know.
Yeah, so in terms of these homework assignments, of course, I mean, you could spend, days on it. I mean, my thought is that do it, as much time as you have, and you feel up to it. Just doing something in between our classes is really good. And, you're trying something new. And so I love the book format because I think that, first of all, a lot of people don't, think of it as a way to make art. But it really does work so beautifully because in a way it gives you a series. It gives you a little bit of a way of making a narrative. Also can expand outwards. You can keep adding to the book format. It's just a way to kind of what would I say? Well, I think you probably can see that, it does present a lot of interesting opportunities. And we will be using this format again in our class. So great, thank you, Beth. That was really interesting to see. Let's see, Tally, you have something to share here. Let's just find you. Tally.
The harmonious is
There we are. Yep, right in front of me. Okay. All right, great. So let's start with this one.
Yeah.
Meditative. Okay. So did you start with the word meditative?
No,
No,
that's
okay.
calm. That one is
Oh,
calm.
this one. Okay, you started with the word calm here. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
And then I kind of abandoned it, but I chose the background colors because I don't know, they felt like calm summer, blue sky,
Nice.
beach kind of thing,
Yeah,
and then just took off from there.
yeah.
It was kind of fun. I found the hardest part is, okay, now that I've done the blue and yellow,
Yeah,
now what?
yeah.
And so I collaged. Well, I didn't actually attach the collages, but I played with collage and moved the paper around and then just made white so that I could use black marker to go in on it.
Yeah, very clever. Okay. No, I think that's a really interesting thing to see where it took you, places that you didn't expect to go. And that's what the beauty of this whole thing is. Yeah, interesting, thing to resolve. And you had this other word, anxious.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you want to tell us a little bit about that?
So again, I was picking colors that I thought sort of sounded like anxious. And then, of course, we'd done those sketches in this class, I think, alternate hands, drawing with your left hand, drawing with your right hand.
Yeah.
And I just started playing with that and thought, well, that's kind of anxious too, So.
Right. Great, Tally. Yeah. So as you can see, every single person so far, has done a different kind of thing. It's not bad or good. It's just, look at that. Interesting. Wow.
And they were fun. When I finished, I liked them better when I finished them than I did when I was doing it. But I put them on my counter so I could see them all spread out. That was fun.
Yeah. Well, good. I mean, it's just, so, and by the way, Ellen, did you have anything? Did you want to show anything?
No.
Okay. All right. But you'll do this at your own pace if you want to. Okay, great. The question is always, when you're working non-representationally, where do you start? How do you get started? And of course, what colors should you use? And that's sort of the beauty and also kind of the difficulty of working in this way, because it doesn't give you, okay, I'm doing a still life. There is the still life. These are my colors. I'm going to paint the still life. That's in a way much easier, right? I mean, it's almost counterintuitive, but that's a skill. And that's a fine skill, because I think what you learn from doing something that way representationally is that you do learn more specifically how to mix colors with something in front of you to match. It gives you a real a point of reference, and so that is helpful. The other thing about drawing a still life is that you have to figure out how to draw the still life. So that's another set of skills. And that's fine, and that is one way of approaching art making. The question is, when you draw something realistically, does that mean that it is art? What do you guys all think?
Does it mean what?
That it is art. What is art?
Yeah.
Well,
When have you made art?
It could be rendering. Is that what you mean? When you're drawing?
Yeah, well, drawing and rendering are the same kind of, well, yeah, when you're rendering something, I think you're drawing it pretty real. You're trying to render it realistically.
Yeah.
So when there's something representational, that you have a model and you're replicating, when do you make art?
As soon as you put your
become art?
pencil down on the paper, I mean, you're interpreting something immediately. You're seeing something and filtering it through your own head and through your body and out to your implement, it seems to me.
All right, so then Beth, you feel that art is anytime, the act of response becomes is art
Yeah.
independent. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, same with a photographer that frames a picture, frames a scene that they want to photograph or something. They made that choice. And that was the scene stays the same, but they are interpreting how they want to look at it.
Okay. Anybody else?
Well, I mean, I agree in the sense that, everybody's reality is different and how you crop the picture, does show a point of view. So even if something is painted realistically, what's the real? As you said to us, everybody sees color differently. Everybody sees, things slightly differently. And even realism is an interpretation. There may be an intention behind it. Maybe that place is changing, so you feel like you need to preserve it in the way that it is looking to you on that particular day. So
I think as soon as if there's a human hand involved, it's art.
Oh,
It's
you guys
not-
are very generous.
No, it's not.
I love.
It's not a machine,
Yeah. Can machines make art?
Good
I don't know.
question.
This digital art, people are making digital art all the time. And once again, though, they're manipulating something. It's their perspective that's deciding what to put on the paper. It's not just a machine operating on its own.
That's right. So you're saying a computer,
A computer generated art.
Yeah. What about, I mean, that brings us to AI, of course, artificial intelligence, can a computer make art? But still, you say that somebody's fed something into it. So
Yeah.
Interesting. Well, no, it's very interesting. How about when do you think that our first exercise where you were painting to music was art making?
Yes.
Wow. Stephanie, you're looking.
I'm just listening and seeing where it's going, but I so far I agree.
Oh, all right. You guys are very well. As I say, you're generous in that. I wonder, because I feel like, and we'll get into this more as we go further into the class, but for me, there is a doing, a making, a response time. And then there's the editing response, and they're two different things. So, suppose, you were, feeling very strong emotional something or other that happened, and you just went in and took some paints and just, threw paint and splashed paint and did all kinds of things on the surface. Yeah, I think you all would say that is art. I might say that the next step would be, to take it out of its simply emotional place and have it go through some sort of refining or editing process.
Yeah, I
Before it
don't
became-
think, yeah, I think the intention is important. If I said to myself, I'm going to throw paint around, and that's the intention, I wouldn't be expecting art.
Ah, interesting. So you think intention has a lot to do with it, Ellen?
Yeah, I do.
Tally, what did you want to say?
Yeah, I was, as you were talking, I was thinking, I also take a class that's writing from a prompt.
Uh-huh.
And so, you don't have much time to think about that. You've got 2 minutes to just go with it.
Yeah.
It would be very interesting to do an art version of that and see where it comes out, because I have no problem responding to, a couple of words and just kind of let it flow. And I find it's a great way to really understand what's going on in my head.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
so, just suddenly when you were talking about this, I thought, would it be interesting to, have 10 words and just respond and say you have 2 minutes
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
just go for it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and the music was a prompt.
Yes. Right.
When we listened to music, that was a prompt.
Yes.
Yes, exactly. That's as close as we've come to that.
That's right. That's right.
Totally right.
Yeah, no, it's also interesting, and I find that teaching this is why I so enjoy it, but I also find it so challenging because there's so many different ways you can enter into art
Yes.
making.
Yes.
And my challenge is, to help adult learners find their way in after many years of probably being not exactly encouraged in various times, or even finding that you had the time or the wherewithal to, really focus in on it. So it's always a challenge to help people find the way in, and yet also find a freedom, and also to find a meaning for it, while also learning technical and sort of the basics of the language.
Mhm.
In this case, it's abstraction that we're talking about. So understand about this class, it's really just meant to, well, first of all, get us talking in community like this about this whole act of it, sharing with each other this journey, but also to entice you and to give you some self-confidence about moving forward, and hopefully it's kind of a beginning for you of more. I mean, depending on where you are, and I know you all have different backgrounds, very, very different backgrounds on it, but that hopefully everybody, wherever you are, can take away a self-confidence and a sort of approach to this whole thing, where losing the judge and instead, looking at it all as a learning process is really the key, because it keeps you open. And going back to, the idea of art as a response to the world, art as your response to the world, and art as also a way to learn about our own selves. Learning and curiosity to me seem to be the underpinnings of it all, because where did this whole idea of art being some sort of competition, start?
Commodity.
What?
Or commodity.
Or a commodity.
Yeah.
It's kind of ruined it for so many people.
Yeah.
There's
Adrian, there's a really interesting play that I just saw called The Pittman Painters. And it's about these coal miners just before World War II who paint, who take their union, it wasn't really an official union, but anyhow, they take a class from somebody about art and they wanted to know, could you just tell me the meaning of this painting? Just tell me what it means. Tell me. And I say, no, I can't do that. And he gave them an assignment. You go do this, go paint what you feel. And so they did, and they came back. But they had this whole history of, and the play discusses all these questions about what is art. And then there's this whole commodification, or what do we call it, of it, where people come in and say, oh, the coal miners are doing art, let's buy their art. And it becomes a fad. And they, so there's all that gets into it. It's fascinating. It's really.
Well, where did you see this?
At Vermont Stage Company up in Burlington, but it's a play. You can go Google it. It's a really interesting story.
The Pittman Painters.
What's it called again?
The Pittman Painters, and it was based on what?
Spell Pittman.
Oh, like the pit. They work in a coal pit. Pitman. Pittman.
Pittman.
Yeah.
Okay.
Plural. Pittman. But it's just all these questions you're saying, they were coming up in that play, and I just had to.
Wow, that's so interesting to hear. Thank you for sharing that, because I'm definitely going to check it out.
Yeah.
Okay, so all right, I like to just touch on it, food for thought. Like, I have no answers for you. I have only give you ways to enter. That's what we're here for, ways to enter in and learn. So in that light, I have another interesting, hopefully, assignment to do today that engages us with color again, because of course we can't just, leave color. And I had told you also that we'd be experimenting with fewer brushes today and more things that we can make, let's see, we're going to print with. Printing simply means that you have a texture that gets paint on it and gets pressed onto a piece of paper. And what it does is it frees us from the tyranny of a paintbrush. You know what I mean by the tyranny of it? I think you maybe have, even fought with it in this last thing. Yes. Oh, Ellen likes that. Thumbs up on Ellen. Yeah. Paintbrushes are so loaded. Again, it goes back to all these really, awful kinds of messages we've learned about, the whole, doing good art, quote unquote. It's awful. It's awful. We're not doing good art. We're learning, we're experimenting, we're processing, we are and we're playing. So this exercise is meant to both help us to, continue to use paint, to mix color, to mix paint, and also to respond in kind of a, this time not so emotionally charged place to begin, but kind of a, I would use the word formal place to begin. So do we understand what the word formal means when we talk about art making?
No.
So it doesn't mean like tuxes. No tuxedos required. No. Formal means related to form, related simply to the basic building blocks of art. In other words, pretty separated, at least for this. It's like this is a design assignment. This is kind of different from the one that I gave you at home, which was really to connect with an emotional reading of a word, to just play. All right, so I'm going to show you this video. Again, I want to begin with the video because I've done this for a class I did, recorded. It helps me because it's already down here for you. And it's an assignment. Again, it's easier for me to go back and show you a video than rather mix up paint, take the time to do that. So let me share the screen and let's watch it, and then we will move forward from that. Okay, so let me just this down. Oops, hold on a second.
Oh, I love that.
Okay, all right. So this is a polka dot color painting exercise. That's what this is. So we're going to get started. So first of all, Many of you may know Yayoi Kusama, the artist. Does anybody not know Yayoi? Don't feel ashamed if you don't know Yayoi.
Nope, I don't.
Okay, Yayoi Kusama, let me just, take us to Yayoi. Yayoi is an interesting woman. She is also having a very big sort of resurgence of her work right now. She is in her 80s. She's
Really?
been making art all of her life. And you might, when I show you this picture of her, you may know, you may have seen her. Good grief.
Is that her in her 80s though, right
This
now?
is in her 80s. This is
Oh my
her.
gosh.
She is wild. She lives in a mental hospital for reasons that I'm not clear about, but she's had trouble living her life in the real world. But she also has been working with just the simple dot as a theme for her paintings and her sculptures and her installations through the last 60 years. So she's really an interesting woman, and a kind of, wonderful to know, of her perseverance and her she kind of crosses over into fashion and design. It's really kind of found herself being very much taken up by, the
Commercial.
into the sort of commercial world, which is always one of those things you have to kind of pause about. But certainly she's an innovator, and she's really she's stuck to her theme. I invite you to read more about her. I don't want to go too much into this, take too much time from the class, but just to say that she's, this is her way back and beginning.
Talk about perseverance.
Yeah, but she sort of has this vision issue where she sees dots in front of her apparently everywhere, and she's turned it into her art making.
That's
So
great.
that's her as a I mean, yeah.
Oh, wow.
So in light of Yayoi, we are going to have, I've designed this exercise sort of based on her work. So let's just see what happens here.
And it's just a really interesting thing to check out. And of course, I think of her as somebody who just loves, high intensity color. And, she has really, kind of even makes fashion statements using.
Adrian,
We're not seeing this.
And
Oh, you're not. Okay, hold on. Whoops. Sorry. Okay. It's funny when okay. Sorry. Let's try it again. Thank you for letting me know. Okay, there we go. Good now?
No,
No, still not?
just your desktop screen.
Oh, okay, hold on. Let me see here. Now?
The same.
Same. Oh dear. Okay, hold on. Maybe I just need to
Well, down in the bottom of the screen, it says polka dot color painting exercise, but it's.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
But
Yes.
it's,
That's
but
it.
it's, okay.
Yeah.
Here, how Yayoi Kusama to
Okay.
just.
All right. Okay. You guys got it now?
Yeah,
All
Yep.
right. Okay, very good.
it's weird looking. Oh, wait a minute.
They're
Oh,
about,
no, that's all right. I haven't started yet.
10 by
Hold on.
12.
Just trying to find a place to start.
I
Okay.
wonder,
Okay,
All right, here we go.
well, it makes you think twice about, what this is for her and how she's really transformed this idea into way more than you might think. Okay, so gosh, I can't stop looking at all this stuff and stuff. You know, she's been doing these in paintings at the beginning of her career, but now, you know, she's off she's off to working installation and these infinity rooms, as she calls them. So let's go
Adria,
back.
is it possible
our,
to make it
video
fill
here.
the screen?
So what I did to start with
Yes.
is, as I had mentioned to you guys, make 3 pieces of paper. These are
Thank you.
about, I don't know, 8, 9 by 12, 8 by 10, something like that, where you. Okay, what I'm going to do is talk over this. So what you're going to do is you're going to start by, we're going to choose 3 colors to mix up, and each piece of paper is going to be a different color. So just let's go through this whole thing first, and then we'll come back and explain how you're going to find those 3 colors. All right. So what I'm showing you here is what our plans are to use complements. So you remember complementary colors. They're the opposite on the color wheel. So we're going to find our way to mixing 3 colors, just mix them all, you know, without thinking about the complementary. And then we're going to work on mixing 3 more colors that are complementary colors. So for example, the magenta here, do you remember that the color wheel opposite of red or magenta is green, along the green lines, right? And you can remember from your color wheel last week, or if you have it close to you, you can see that the opposite on the color wheel from magenta is a kind of a green, which is actually very close to this green right here. And that happened completely not on purpose. All right, so it's almost like these 2 are already complements. What's the complement of the blue, the light blue? Do you remember? Or can you look at your color wheel and sort of think about what's opposite the color wheel from the blue? Orange, right, exactly. So this exercise will be focusing on several things at the same time. One is mixing large amounts of color. And don't worry, I'm going to walk you through all of this. I just want to walk you through what this is going to end up looking like before we start. So we're going to just begin by making these 3 colors. Okay. All right, so let's move over to the actual thing you're going to be doing. Okay. All right. So right here, what we have are, I'd asked you to bring some things that you can print. You can print, like if people had, what are these called again? Bubble wrap. Bubble wrap. Bubble wrap is something that you can dip into your paint and make little dots out of. So we're just going to stay with this theme of circles. So watch what happens when you paint this. Hold on a second. I'm also saying that also we have stencils. We can cut circles out of a piece of cardboard and let that be another way to make circles. So there are a couple of different ways that you can make circles. I think the other thing was bottle caps, right? Did everybody find bottle caps or something like that to use for our printing? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so we can do that. All right. So let's just fast forward here and get to actually making some circles. Okay, here we go. Sorry, just catching up here. Okay. So what I'm showing here is that open kind of paint. And I don't think I've mentioned it here, but it is the paint that Golda makes that stays wet quite a bit longer. You don't need to have it. I'm just showing it as, you know, something that you might, you may want to know about in the future if you don't, you know, have any. It's just if you start with a white that
has got this ability to stay wet longer, and you mix it in with your regular acrylics, you just get a kind of a paint that stays wet a little bit longer. And so that's kind of nice to know that you can do that, but you can still do that with your regular paint. So I'm just showing mixing up a color that I'm making to be this opposite on the color wheel. And once I've done that, what I'm going to do is take my take my brush, and I'm going to brush it onto my bubble wrap. So if your paint has got some body to it, it will stick to your bubble wrap. And that's why you don't want to add a lot of water to your paints, really, unless you have a very specific reason for doing it. And voila, I printed the bubble wrap onto my background. So in each case, I'm going to take a different object and print rather onto my different sheets of my different colors, the complement, using a different way of making a circle. So on the magenta, I'm going to make my little green dots. And on my green paper, I'm going to actually take a version of that same magenta. As I said, it just happened that I happen to have those colors. When I have a stencil, it's a great way to make images without having to use a brush, right? I'm using a brush to get the paint onto, the paper, but still I'm not using brush strokes. I'm using the outer edges of the stencil to get a circle. And as I was saying in this video, I'm just talking over it. If you've never used a stencil, simply you cut a shape out of a piece of paper and that becomes your stencil shape. You then brush from the outside into the center. Just showing you the consistency of this paint. Again, it is not watery. It's pretty sticky. And you're going to paint toward the inside of the circle, which gives you a nice clean shape. Don't worry if you do get a little bit of paint underneath the edges. That is something that just happens when you do this process. It's very natural. I don't worry about it. We're not talking about perfection here. We're talking about just, again, experimenting with this new way of making a shape. If you paint outward, like I'm showing you here, it is easier to get that paint to kind of, what happens is that sometimes the paint does go underneath that edge. But if you paint from the other way around, from the outside image inside, you're less likely to get the paint going where you don't want it. Okay, so that's the second one. And for your third one, what we're going to do is using orange. Oops, what happened here? I think here I'm just sort of showing you. This would be where you would use your orange color, right? But you can use a pencil eraser to get dots. And you can also take the outer edge of your cap to give you circle shapes. So you've got a couple of different varieties of ways of working. So that's where we're going to stop. What I want you to do is to just stop there. What will happen once we've made our 3 sheets with our circles, and this is probably going to happen for homework, I'm going to say, is you're going to make collages with these different colors and shapes that you've already made. So you have 3 sheets of paper that have been printed with your 3 different kinds of circles, and then we're going to cut them and rearrange pieces of these papers into new compositions. Makes
And
sense?
the paper that we use is just like printer paper, or is it heavier?
Today I would use your drawing paper. Yeah, the
Okay.
paper that it asks you to bring. Yeah, you want to have a little something. I mean, you could use printer paper, but it doesn't, the thing is, it's not very absorbent. So your paint, I could warp the paper a little bit. It makes it a nicer surface to use if you use your drawing paper. So do I have questions?
Hmm.
All right, so the first thing we're going to do, and I'm going to promise you, I'm going to talk you all the way through this. So for the next, let's say 10 to 15 minutes, what we're going to do is mix up 3 different colors in your containers, because we need a bunch. We need a lot of paint to be able to cover a sheet of paper. And for these sheets of paper, we're just talking about approximately 8 by 10. So you don't need to use the full 18 by 24. That's way too much. We're just going to do like half sheets of that 18 by 24. Or if you can even just cut out an 8 by 10, area, that's perfect. So you're going to mix up more paint than more paint than you might be able to mix up on a piece of paper. That's why we use the cups. So mix
What
up.
colors are we?
So what color? So let's see. What's kind of good to do is, I would say, I'm going to ask you first to go around your house and find 3 different colors that you like, from maybe the covers of a book to a piece of clothing that you like, or maybe some kitchen utensil. Go search for color and let those be the colors that we are going to be using.
So
it's
there's
kind of
nothing about compliments. It's not compliments,
not
just 3
compliments yet.
colors. sugar.
Now 3 separate colors. They actually could be, grays or browns. Remember, those are called neutrals, and we know how to make those. But I would say, actually, for these, let's stay with not neutrals, because that's going to present it's going to be a little bit trickier for you to make complements of neutrals. So let's stay with more pure color. So go find, it could be purple, brown, purple, green, blue, orange, red, some colors that are lying around. Like here, I have a nice yellow, barbell, and that could be my yellow. So what I'm going to ask you to do is to mix up your colors based on the colors that you found.
So we're not looking for primaries.
Not primaries necessarily, but just colors that are not, I was going to say stay away from neutrals, because that's going to get us into a little complication.
Okay.
Stay
Just-
away from neutrals,
Just colors we like.
go
Okay.
for colors that you like, colors that are lying around your house. So there's a great one, Ellen, that great purple that she found, just like fun color like that. And then, but you'll be surprised, you have to figure out how to mix that color. That will be challenging. And that's how we're going to be more learning every day. Every time we try to mix a color, we're going to learn about color, because we're going to have to figure out what couple colors are going to make that color that you have there.
So find 3.
Yes, find 3. Yeah. Okay, has everybody found 3 colors that you like?
Yep, now we mix them, right?
All right, so everybody, show me the colors that you've chosen. Everybody just hold them up. Or,
I can't hold mine up there on furniture.
oh, well, can you see them pretty well, Beth, to be able to like match? Are you able to like mix your color and match?
Yeah, I can mix it, no
Okay.
problem.
All right, great. And Ellen has those, you know, a bright yellow, orangey yellow, and a violet.
This is a
Green.
paint, but I want to mix it. I'm not going to use it.
Yeah, okay, great. Perfect. And Tally, great. You have 3. And Stephanie, what are yours?
Well, I have 1.5, meaning, like, yeah, and they're on something that I can't really show.
Okay, no worries. All right, so now your challenge, everybody, would be to mix the colors. All right, so this is how I want you all to start. I want you all to put like a tablespoon of white first in the bottom of your container, because that is going to give you an opaque color. Remember we talked about that last week. And in this case, I want us to work with opaque colors, because otherwise what'll happen is you get a lot of the white showing through and a lot of brush strokes. So for this particular exercise, we're just going to concentrate on trying to make a nice opaque color. So start with like a tablespoon of white. And then what you want to do is trying to figure out how to make your color. And this is what I'm here for right now. So if you have trouble, I'm going to try to help you virtually by making some suggestions about whether it's a warm or a cool color that you need, you know, where you might need some help. So try to go as far as you can on your own by mixing your white into your little container and gradually adding, you know, small amounts of your colors to get to the color that you want. So Beth, as long as you can sort of see your furniture from where you are and go up with the color you're mixing and carefully without getting the color on your furniture, which I'm really great at doing, by the way. Oh my God, I'm just a walking mess with paint. Oh my gosh. All my clothes have paint on.
So I'm trying to get more of an olive green.
Okay.
And it's, I don't know if you can see, but it's
Oh,
too blue and it's not.
yes. Okay. So now what yellow do you think you need to make an olive green? Is it?
Well,
a full
I
yellow?
tried putting an ochre in there, but it didn't work.
No, so you want your diarylide yellow or the egg yolky yellow, not the light yellow, but the sort of more medium yellow.
Okay, I have, so I don't have the exact yellows that you
Okay.
called for. I have the benzimidazolone.
Benzo.
Yellow medium.
That's good. Try that. Let's see. What's the other one you have? Hold on.
That's ochre.
Oh,
And I have cadmiums.
okay. Cadmium.
And-
Good. Let me see your cadmium.
Wait a minute. It's just this cheap cadmium.
Oh, that's okay. You know, neither one of them are toward the red, Beth, but that's okay. You know what? Try putting a little bit of magenta in the mix you've already made and see if that helps, because what you actually want is a yellow that's more toward the red, because olive has a red in it, right?
Okay.
Yeah. So just take a little drop of your magenta and see if that gets you closer to what you're trying to get to. This is why, you know, this is all, like I was saying last week, it's your ability to mix color is so dependent on the colors, the pigments you have. That's why you might really want to go shopping for one more color there, because it looks like you're very good on the light yellow toward green, but you're not too good on the yellow toward red.
Well, it's still really blue.
Let's see. Okay, now add more yellow.
Oh, well, I'm sorry, I'm having trouble.
Add more benzimidazoline yellow.
Okay, thank you for pronouncing that word.
Benzimidazoline. Took me 4 months to learn how to say it. I'm serious. I'm only tripping off my tongue because I just say it so much. But yeah, just all
Okay,
right. Stephanie, how are you doing on your color mixing? Let's see.
Well, I mean, I'm trying to make this teal that I made yesterday. It looks like I used ultramarine and black and maybe some white. But today I added some of that green in and some yellow, and I'm getting a greener. This is greener than the teal I was going for that I had yesterday. So I
Okay.
might have to start over.
No. All right. So let me just think here.
It's close. It's getting pretty close, actually.
Okay,
It's a
good.
darker version.
Good. You could try adding a teeny
maybe-
little bit of yellow to it. A little bit of your light yellow, just a.
I don't have
drop.
light yellow, but I have only the medium yellow.
See, that's again, you're gonna have trouble making that without the colors that you.
Well, I managed yesterday, but I went about it differently.
Okay, all right.
So, okay, so if I said that this is a darker version, I'm just kind of trying to add some white to it and
That's
see
good. Yes, adding white to it will be great. Yep.
if I can get it lighter. And then it's just a matter of, again, adjusting the blues to get it a little bit.
That's right. Yeah, add white to it. Yep. All
This
right,
is-
let's see. Yeah.
this is it's still so blue. I can't.
Yeah.
Orange, I've put magenta, I've put yellow, and
Okay, so Beth, yeah, it may be not possible because you're missing that. Yeah. All right, let's try one more thing. All right, we're going to start again. Put that aside. You can use that. You can use that color for something else. So don't worry. Let's try. Let's just see. On a piece of paper before you actually mix it again. Let's try to do this. Take your benzimidazoline.
I'll be back here, so.
Yeah, and just take a dab of it and put it on your paper because we're going to try to make it without, outside of your container first.
Okay,
Okay, now, let me see the color you've got. Just put it up. I just want to see. Yeah. Okay, that's pretty good. All right, now try taking a little bit of your magenta, just like a teeny drop to it. Just a
okay,
little
my magenta is quinacridone magenta, so that,
quinacridone. Yeah, that's all right. Yep, that's perfect.
Okay.
Yep, just take a little tiny droplet of that, the smallest amount, because we're trying to get that to be a little bit redder, that yellow.
Okay.
Okay, just a drop. Yep. Okay, now take your ultramarine blue. All right, and just add a drop of your ultramarine blue and see where that gets you.
progress.
Okay, there you go. It could be the blue that you used was on the green side. Yeah, and so the ultramarine blue is a blue that goes toward red. And that's always what you want to use when you're talking about the olivey greens and anything that's not Kelly green. So it's both the yellow and the blue that are, they're equally important. Yeah, okay, good. So
Okay.
what you can do then is just hold on to that color. That's why we have them in the containers, and you can put a cover on that. And maybe what you can do is use that for your complement of, you can make orange. You can kind of go backwards.
I have orange as another color, so
Okay, perfect. Well, maybe
so I can.
you'll be in luck. Good. Okay. All right, let's see. Who else needs help mixing? Tally,
I
how
mean,
are you doing?
can I paint my page with this blue now?
Yeah.
Or
Yeah, if that's a
Okay.
color you like, sure, go ahead, paint. Yep, you can paint, or you can mix all of them and then paint, whatever works for you. That's fine. So, but the color, this color mixing exercise is really important because it give, when you have to match something that, since we're not working from a still life, matching a color that we have in somewhere in the outside world is really, really helpful. Ellen, how are you doing with your matching there? Making progress?
Whoops, I don't know if you can see.
I can, yep. Good, that looks pretty good to me.
But this is a little, I don't know, I think. This seems to have like a little brownish in it, like burnt sienna or something, or.
Well, then it means bring its complement to it then. So maybe just a teeny bit of blue. Like literally a tip of your
Teeny.
fingernail. And that will make it more neutral because you're talking about brown,
Okay,
Okay,
are we painting to the edges of the page or just before the edges of the page?
it's really up to you. Whatever, like I did in my demo, I didn't go right directly to the edge, probably just because it was a little bit less messy, but it's fine. Either way, if you can do it and you have something underneath and you want to go to the edge, just go to the edge because it gives you more space for sure.
so Adria,
Yeah,
I chose a yellow and this kind of color.
yeah,
Those two were easy to mix, but here's what I'm having trouble with right now.
yeah.
Oh boy, the light isn't, I'm trying to get it dark enough.
Okay, let's
Right.
see. Let me see the color you're mixing. Let me see what you've got already in your. Okay, that looks. It's hard to. I know it's in the glare of the light. Tally, can you
I know.
pull it
Let me
back a
see.
little bit? Yeah, just pull it towards you.
Oh, you think
Yeah. There you go. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's a little. Oh no, now it's in light.
no, you can't, it doesn't look a bit turquoise. Let's see if I can switch this.
Ah, there you go.
So
That's better. Okay.
this is
now I
the
can see it.
color I have.
Okay.
This is the bandana, which actually,
It's pretty close,
am-
no?
I'm in a very sunny place, so.
Yeah. So, all right.
that's-
The bandana, what color do you, it looks really close to me. Wow. I think you did a great job, no?
Well, it feels to me, this feels much too light.
Oh, well then just add more of your blue. Add more of your blue to it. Yeah, whatever you do, just, yeah.
A navy blue or something like that.
Well, ultramarine or phthalo, maybe a little
I
bit of
have
both.
both
I
of
don't,
those.
whatever you used, you want
And
to
I-
keep using it. Just add a little bit more to it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So those are the two colors I've been adding.
Yeah,
And
okay.
phthalo's slightly darker, so I'll try that.
Yeah. Perfect. Okay, good. All right, anybody else have questions, problems with the mixing? So once you've mixed a color, if you want to do, go ahead and paint it on one of the sheets of paper, you can do that. As I said, Stephanie seems to want to go and do that. And if you'd rather just mix up your 3 colors first and then paint the colors, that's fine too.
Okay, so
Yeah,
I've
go
been
ahead.
so concentrating on the mixing.
Yeah.
What are we now doing? It's
So
an
now
8 by
just-
10 piece of
yeah.
paper.
Yep, separate sheets of paper for each color. Just go ahead and
Okay.
cover an 8 by 10-ish size of paper with the flat color. Nice flat color. And because you've got white in it, you should have a nice flat color that doesn't have many brush strokes in it. So you don't want to add more water to your paint. You want to just use it just as it is
And we cover the whole sheet.
and cover the whole sheet. Yep.
I had to put a speck of water in it.
Oh, yeah, I mean, that's fine. A speck is okay. You know, Ellen, just to make it move a little bit better, sure. But you want to avoid using a lot of water because that will just make it runny.
Yeah.
So we're gonna have 3 sheets of paper with the
Yeah.
3 different colors.
Exactly.
It's kind of like cooking.
It is like cooking. That's exactly right, Stephanie. That's precisely what it is. There is definitely a lot of parallels between cooking and making art, I think.
Don't say that. I hate cooking.
Well,
We do each color a sheet.
Yeah.
Of each color.
yep. And you have your paints, you know, just put the cover on them so they stay wet. And believe me, you'll have these paints for the rest of our semester until you use them up.
Adrian, do you ever use the trick of putting them in the refrigerator?
I find that I don't need to, Ellen. When I mix up a batch of paint that's, you know, significant enough and I have the cover on top of it, I don't need to, but I think it extends the drying time a bit.
Uh-huh.
You just have to have it refrigerated, you know, it's not too full.
Yeah.
You know what's edible and what isn't, so.
Let's see, I'm making that green.
What we'll do is, when everybody's done 3 sheets of paper, we'll stop and just take a quick look at what we've got, and then talk a little bit about making these compliments.
Oh, these aren't the colors we're using?
Those are the background
Oh,
colors.
We're painting our papers, right?
Yeah, painting papers first. Yeah, so paint papers, and then what we're going to be doing is making compliments. It's
Right.
possible that some of you actually have already made the compliments, some of your just by virtue of, you know, like I did in the video, whoops, accidentally, which is fine. I mean, that's totally fine.
So is it okay to mix cool with warm? It doesn't matter for
Doesn't
this?
matter. No, not at all. No, whatever colors we're making, that's what, you know, that's fine. Doesn't, you know, independent of.
So you want to start looking? Is that what you want to do? Have us hold up the colors we've got?
Yeah, yes, Tally, or can you, you know, whatever you can do with your camera, just so I can see the colors.
Okay, I'm gonna do it one at a time.
Okay, great. Good. And do you have the object in front of you that you used?
The bananagrams
Oh,
color.
great. Oh, perfect. You did a very good job with that. Yeah. Bananagram.
And here's the blue
Yes.
one.
Look how
Yeah,
nice and flat it is. Yeah, I'm seeing it. Very flat paint. Good.
and then the last is this
Yep.
and this.
Nice.
Very good. It looks very, very good. All right. Who else is ready? Who else can I see?
Hmm.
All right, well, Tally, you know, you're ready to start mixing some of your compliments.
Compliments.
Yes, so I actually, I don't think you really have any compliments there, what you made, so you're gonna have to make some. So start, oh dear, too bad. So start with a color and figure out what's your compliment.
Okay. And then do I paint a whole
No.
sheet of that?
No,
Oh,
with your, just
just
mix up
figure
your
it out.
color. Yeah, mix up your color. When, you know, and then what you can do is just, you could actually do them one at a time. Decide, you know, what you're gonna, you know, whether you're gonna use bubble wrap or you know,
Right.
caps or jar covers or whatever to make circles. And so
Okay,
just,
so it's gonna be printing with the compliment.
yes, very good. You're gonna be printing with your compliment. Precisely right. Yeah. Beth, oh, you, all right, great.
I've
Yeah.
got my three, that's in a painting.
Looks like she chose the same colors I did.
Yeah, you did.
That,
Yeah, yeah,
and
pretty close. Yeah.
the others are in the furniture.
Okay, that's okay. But you feel pretty good about them? You feel pretty good about them? You feel pretty
Yeah,
good?
they're a little paler than, but that's what I picked.
Close enough. That's fine.
Yeah.
Okay,
Beth, what is I see the blue one and I can
Yeah.
see the sort of pinky orange one. What's the color of the middle one?
Oh, it's a very pale olive.
Oh,
yeah. Okay, so what would be a complement of pale olive? So opposite the color wheel is red and green.
Red.
Yeah.
I mean, a red,
Right. So so a pale
a pale,
of red. And so again, that is a green that is olivey. So it's a greeny red. So you're gonna have to mix up a
bluey
bluey, yeah, a bluey red.
red.
Magenta,
So like a magenta.
magenta. That's right. That's right. That should be pretty easy then for you.
Well, I have light magenta,
There
actually.
you go. Done and done.
Wait, a minute, I think maybe I did what you did, Adria, I'm not sure. So isn't the complement of this?
Yeah. Yep, that's fine. Good for you.
Yeah, I did the same thing you did,
Yeah, you did the exact same thing that I did.
but I
That's
didn't
fine.
do it on purpose.
No, I know. Well, that's what happened to me. I'm like, oh, whoops.
Yeah,
Only I was
and
a
then the
little,
complement of this like greeny yellow, I don't know if you can see it.
yeah, it's exactly right. Yeah, yep. It's funny. That's
Would
fine.
the opposite of that be the purple?
Yeah, you're done. You did it.
What can I
Okay,
say?
that's easy. So, you know, you can, if you want to, you can start, if your painting is dry, you can start to put, you know,
Circle?
circles on it of some, you know, some ilk of circles on there.
That's funny.
I know.
So it's interesting to see what your eye goes to, you know?
It is. It is, you know, what you're attracted to, what you're drawn to.
Yeah.
okay. Can I do a little cross-checking with you?
Yes, yes.
So this is a pretty close match. Boy, you can't see the yellow at all.
I can
really.
see, no, I can see it. Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
And it looks like it's a version of that.
Yeah,
I'm
Yep.
right on the right track.
yep,
And the
it's a
blue one
violet.
is relatively close to this.
Yep,
So I'd go this way and come out with an orange.
exactly, Tally, exactly. You got it.
Good, I've got it.
You
Okay,
got
and
it.
the red is this one. So I just go across the wheel. So
Yeah,
it's a bluey green.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not all dry yet.
yeah. So, yeah, so you might as well just, yeah, if you need to mix up, you have one other one you have to mix up anyway, right, Ellen? You do have it, so you have to mix.
No, I,
But what's your third color though? You had, wait, and what's your third one?
purple, yellow, and yellow, green.
Oh, okay, well, then, I mean, theoretically, you might want to do one of them that's a little bit different because the yellows aren't exactly the same. So I don't know. We're splitting hairs, but
Yeah.
it would just be nice to have one extra one.
You mean an extra painted paper?
Yeah, like one extra different color. I don't know. You know what? On that one, you can take a little liberty and just pick another color that is interesting to you.
Oh, you mean don't use these three?
No, use those three, but instead of using the same, because if you use those three, you're pretty much going to have
Well,
different color.
I can change them a bit, like they could be a little darker or something.
Yeah, why don't you do that? Just change one of them. Yeah. So that you're not having, those two are very, very close.
Yeah. Gotcha.
Just
Okay.
for,
I've got my 3 colors.
all right, Stephanie, can you hold them so I can see? Hold 'em up.
Yes, but it'll be hard to show you the original. I have to reposition the computer maybe if I can. Let's see. So here's the first one.
Yeah. Yep, nice. Mhm.
I mean, and the colors that I'm going for are from this cheerful chair.
Oh. Oh, that's too funny.
And so
Yeah.
this is the pink I just showed you, like a
Yeah.
pinky red.
Yep.
And I've got this green or something close. And then the blue was my inspiration there, but
Yeah.
I went in a different direction with it that I liked much better.
Okay.
A little bit of a darker teal. So it wasn't that I couldn't make that color, it's that I didn't want to.
Okay. All right. Very good. Very good.
So here's the green.
Nice. Nice flat color. Good job. Yeah. This is
And
great,
then-
everybody. Yep. And again, it's not because you always have to use opaque color. This is just, you know how to make opaque when you want it. That looks great, Stephanie.
Blue.
Good. Okay. So now what you'll want to do is start with one of them and make a complement. So you can
Well,
start
the
with
issue
blue.
is that I didn't know that we were supposed to complete our full color wheels.
You
So
don't
as
have
you
to.
can see, mine is like this.
I know, that's fine. You don't have to complete the whole thing. You know, you're gonna make an educated guess if your color's a little slightly different from the ones that you've got there. Just do
So,
that.
I mean, this
Yeah.
is gonna need something in the green family,
Yeah, exactly.
like a darker shade of this green.
Yes. Yeah,
Yes. And this blue is nowhere really on there, but I guess it's the blue green in between
Yeah.
here. So
Very
what would
good.
be here would be some kind of pinky orange.
Yes, orangey. It's orangey.
Orangey. Okay.
Yeah.
And then that green, this green is also really not here. So, but I guess it's gonna be again in the reddish
Magenta,
family.
that's magenta really. Yep,
Magenta. So it's really kind of this.
it is really that. Yeah, so you could also use those two as complements. You don't
Okay.
have to mix up another one, nah.
Really? So I can just
Yeah,
exchange them?
You can just use those, yeah. So, but
Okay.
you want to mix up your orange because that's one you. don't
Okay.
like. Yeah.
Okay.
Can I use these two as complements? The blue
Yeah,
and
they're
the
pretty close. Isn't that funny that everybody ended up doing that?
No.
That's really funny. Yeah, well, that's an easy one. Good. So yeah, when
I
you're
can
ready,
make this green a little darker just for
it's fine, Stephanie.
to
whatever you
match the
wanna
sort
do.
of the intensity of this and to make it a little different.
it looks pretty good to me. I don't think I would
You
worry.
just don't mess with it, just leave it.
Don't
Okay.
mess with it. No, it's good. It's good because partly, the point of this exercise is to just try and mix your color, which is great. You all did a really good job with that. And then the other one now is just, sort of understanding a little bit more about complements. And the third one is learning different ways of putting paint down, which is stenciling or printing. So that's what we're going to get to that. And then the next step, which we're going to probably do I don't know if we're going to get a chance to do it in class, but the homework will be the next iteration, which is making collages from these materials that you've made. So it has these different sections.
So
Yeah,
Adrian,
that's
I
good.
have this orange that I made for another
Yeah.
occasion. Is this the right orange or should it be a little altered?
It looks like it could use a little white because
Yeah.
So add a little bit of white to that one, or maybe just I'll tell you this, everybody, it's very hard to lighten the color. It's much easier to start with white and gradually add that color to it.
Uh-huh.
So I would suggest doing that. Because it's hard. It's just, you need an awful lot of white to change a color that you've already mixed up. So I would just start with your white and add a little bit of that to it. But that's a very good color. That's a very close to what you want.
Are we filling up the page with the dots or just?
Yeah, you fill up the page. Yes, because the reason why, Beth, is that we're making fodder for our collages to come, and you'll want to have interest on all the different pieces of paper there.
Okay.
So we're using the bubble wrap first?
If you'd like, sure. Mm-hmm. Oh, it's great that everybody did everybody get bubble wrap, or is just a couple of you?
I got it.
Okay, great. Oh, well, good. I never know, I don't want to have anybody, go to great lengths to get some of these things because you could substitute a lot of different things for it.
You are right that a little white goes a long way when you put it in first and really does not. If you then you have to use a lot of white, you're right, to change, to lighten the color that you've already created. And I used a lot of white to get my green that light because I didn't have enough in the beginning.
Yeah. No, these are things that, you just have to learn from doing them,
So, I mean, I need more of it, but now now I have an orange that's this color. That's
Yeah, that looks really good to me. Yes.
quite light, but I think it's going to be pretty with this blue.
Yeah. It's going to be good. Yeah. Good compliment. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay, I have a question.
Yeah.
So if I'm trying to match the complement of that one,
Yep.
I have this that I'd already mixed, and it
Yeah.
seems, I guess that's it, but it's very close. No, it isn't. I was going to say it's very close to the salmon color, but it isn't. So, okay, I guess I got
it's
it.
pretty
For
good.
some reason, it's tricky doing this with showing it on the screen, but
It is.
if I did that, it would be a blue that doesn't look that different than the. I'll keep working on this.
Okay.
I can't even verbalize it.
Yeah, no, it is tricky what we're doing, but the takeaway is this is how you mix colors, and I'm hoping that you're getting a sense, especially if you mix like blue. Is it a greeny blue or is it a red blue? Just to kind of get a sense of what's out there by having to mix a color to match.
Mhm.
That's how you're going to learn.
So question, Adria.
Yeah.
You know, I mix something, then it's not light enough, so I do want to add more white. So then should I ideally be having a spoon available for the white? Because otherwise I keep having to use a new brush to get in there.
Yeah, a spoon is nice, or a palette knife is good. Yeah, but these are things you can get. Yeah, you can get inexpensive plastic spoons or palette knives at playtime. But it's nice to have something other than a brush to mix your color. Absolutely. Not essential, but it's certainly nice.
Okay, so just the bubble wrap now, or also jar lids.
I would do one page of the bubble wrap because it's nice because you're going to get different amounts of paint on it, so you'll have a range of the ways that the bubble wrap is printing on your paper, which will give you nice variety.
So bubble wrap on all three or just?
No, bubble wrap on one. And then each one may be a different one. You could do stencils on one and then bottle caps on the next one. Because the idea is you'll have three different sort of design elements and colors that you'll be able to work with when you're making your collages.
And what do we do with the corrugated cardboard?
Oh, I forgot about that. Hold on to it. We'll use it next week. So these things are all interesting textures to use that give you, new unexpected results on pieces of paper with your painting, which is the point of all this, to introduce you to different ways you can make marks without the paintbrush. And corrugated cardboard is one of those really fun things. You can paint the corrugation and print, to give you lots of lines. But since we're working with circles this time, let's just keep it with circles.
Adrian, do you know more about the artist?
Yayoi. Well, yeah, she does have a mental illness that has, had her, this is where the dots came from. She hallucinates dots, and it must really be very distracting, way to live. But somehow she channeled it into art making. It's really extraordinary. I don't know a lot about her, but I have seen one of her installation rooms, the Infinity Rooms. I don't know, has anybody else seen at the
Yeah.
ICA last year? Yes, you have seen.
Yeah.
It. Yeah. And it's interesting, that she's it's an interesting experience to be in them. She's done them with lights. There was one outside the Decordova a couple of years ago where it was just like little pinpricks of light, and she uses mirrors all the way around the structure. So when you stand in it, you really feel like you're floating in space with these lights on the floor and the ceiling and the walls.
Did she have somebody help her get her
I am
art?
Oh, are you kidding? Absolutely, Ellen. Everybody who's big, like famous like that, has had a lot of help. A lot.
If she was institutionalized at a young age?
I don't know. I
think it was voluntary.
was it voluntary? Yeah.
Yeah, I think she checked herself in.
Yeah.
To get away.
Yeah.
Or something. That's what I remember.
Yeah, look, she's somebody who's absolutely used her life story as a way to get interest in her work. And look, I'm holding against her or anything like that. But when you see an artist whose work is very famous like that, there is definitely a structure around them that's promoted that's helped them to get there. Yeah.
Adrian, I don't really like this, and wondered, I'd like to use a dark magenta instead of the
Yeah.
pink.
Go for it.
Okay.
You can do that.
So do you think she put herself in the hospital as a marketing thing?
No, I don't think she did that. But I think that the story altogether certainly makes her very mysterious and interesting. I'm sure that you can go, sleuthing on the web, Ellen.
Yeah.
I've just never taken the time to find, to go that far, but I'm sure there's some interesting stuff about her and how she ended up there. But, this is just bits and pieces that I've read.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm catching up. Where do we do our bubble wrap print? On the original?
One of the originals, yes. So now it's up to your choice. Yeah, which gets bubble wrap, which gets stencil, which gets bottle cap.
We have to create the stencils.
You'll have to create one if you don't have them. Yeah. You don't even have to use a stencil. I mean, here's another thing you could do, Stephanie, since you
Yeah.
haven't got a stencil yet, is to take your corrugated cardboard and cut a circle out of the corrugated cardboard and use that as your printing process. You know, that would be really cool.
So we're printing bubble wrap. We're stenciling a circle. What's the other thing?
Bottle caps,
Bottle.
jar cap, you know, just dipped into your color. Or, and as I
should
said
we-
to Stephanie, if you wanted to, you could substitute a piece of corrugated cardboard cut in a circle.
And so we do each of those on each of the
one on
original
each.
mix,
Yeah, one on each. Yeah. Mhm.
one on each.
So if you do the corrugated cardboard, you're gonna have a circle with lines in it?
That's right. You're still using a circle.
That sounds cool.
Yeah. You know, we're just kind of looking, again, what we're trying to do here is set up parameters so that it's that, you know, this part of the process is kind of like a little recipe. You know, you've got a system, and systems are also another great way to come into art making, where you, again, you are able to skip over the paralysis of facing the empty page. You know, gives you a place to start, which is so often where we get stuck. Like, oh, I want to make art, but uh-oh, where do I start? So this is, you know, this is a way. You just got a little system. Okay, it's going to be circles. It's going to be two colors that are opposite each other on the color wheel. And then I'm going to make a collage. Collage is based on that.
You know, I always thought that people made art because there was something inside them, not that they stood in front of a blank piece of paper and didn't know what to do. This is like a whole new thing.
Oh, yeah. You know, I think there's many ways of coming into art, Ellen, as there are artists, you know, but what's nice about trying out all these different ways is that it could be a way that you find that you can find inspiration in,
Mhm.
or a way, or yet another way to get to where you're going. You know, all of these things are possible. Like when you work from recipes like this, in a way, it takes away some of that anxiety of just getting started. And that may not be your problem, but you know, it's just, I'm just saying that it is a way that a lot of people do find. And actually a lot of art, well, I mean, you look at artists like, oh, who's somebody who's really worked with a structure like that.
Well, like I'm thinking about Matisse and Picasso, who always had, you know, like the model.
Well, right. They always had the model. Exactly. They really came out of figuration. And that was definitely a thing. And they, you know, really got a lot of their inspiration from the human figure. But that's just them. And that was happened to have, you know, been in fashion, in vogue then. You know, artists now, you know, do use different ways to come about making their work. And
Yeah.
I think about, for example, the, you know, minimalist artists who maybe are more akin to the way we're working now. It's like kind of a little bit of a, they were formal artists. They, you know, they weren't interested in expressivity per se, but they, you know, they were more interested in perception. You know, how I mean, Yayoi to some extent is almost like that too. Like, you know, you could see, yes, some of her color combinations do make you think of certain things, but she's still just using dots, you know.
Mhm.
So you can separate out the artistic experience from emotion and from content. And that's, you know, certainly a valid place for art making, you know, I mean, that lots of people have done that too. So there's just so many different, that's how you get all the isms in art, you know, making. We have, minimalism and expressionism and, impressionism and these are just all varieties of coming at responding to.
Making dots with the top of a pencil thing, and it's addictive.
It is so addictive. It's very fun.
So the green is still very wet. No,
Yeah, if it's too wet, you may want to wait before you do your color. Yeah, just give it a chance to dry. But meanwhile, we could stop now because you may run into, I don't want you to, do too wet stuff on a wet piece of paper. Let's talk about what's next. So I'm going to send you a video for your homework that will include what you want to do next with our collage. And so we're sort of wending our way into the topic of composition. See how we did that? We're kind of moving gradually into, because when I'm asking you to take fragments of these 3 different color combinations and using dots of different sizes, you are now talking about composing a new design. And so I will be asking you to make 3 to 5 little 5x7 designs using the papers that you've created in class today. And so not to worry, I will send you a video about that.
You know what? I got so hung up on mine, I did it wrong. I put one of the complements on, I put the purple onto the green. And I meant to put it onto the yellow.
Don't worry.
Isn't the purple complementary to green?
It is. It is.
Yellow, green, yeah.
Yeah. Don't worry. This
Whatever.
is, not to worry. This is just, just a little prompt to get you started. So whatever ends up, nothing is a mistake. It's just a little bit of a different.
On the green, on the purple, I made the green like more of a neutral.
Yeah. I see that. Yeah, it's fine, Ellen. It's fine.
I could do
No worries. Okay, anybody have questions, comments, issues, problems?
Yeah, I was just following directions.
Okay, so we're wending our way through a variety of approaches, through a variety of sort of nuts and bolts art making language and kind of things that we need to know about, like color and line. And we are going to be going kind of back and forth between assignments that are more formal, that are just about like the sort of design, texture, line, quality, color, and all that stuff, that don't have a whole lot of immediate relationship to emotion, and then others that will be more emotion and intuitive and intuition based. So kind of bringing both sides together. Okay, well, if you don't have any questions, then I think I'm going to sign off and let you all finish up. Just remember to wash your brushes off with soap and water. That's a great way to keep them really clean. Water is fine, but it's not going to get all the little fragments of acrylic out. So really putting some soap in your palm of your hand and just, rubbing the brushes right down to the ferrule is the best way to really clean it out. And then just when you're done washing your brushes, just leave them flat on the table instead of putting them up into a container like this. That way they'll just, you won't end up with a lot of water falling back into the brush, the wood of the brush. That's what I do anyway, when I'm trying to remember to be careful with my like equipment. And that way your brushes will really last you a long time. Okay, everybody, have fun. And be on the lookout for my next video, which I'll be sending to you soon. And I'll send you also a link to this class if you need to watch it again.
You'll
Thank
post you'll post the homework, right?
I will. Yeah. Okay, bye-bye, everybody.
Bye, thank you.
Yeah, bye.
Bye-bye.